Good day everyone, I'm Paige Quijano from Statistics Class Section B. I'm currently taking up Master's in Nursing, major in Nursing Administrative Services. Today I'm going to present a study regarding the burnout level of nurses in the different hospitals of Iligan City, its impact to their work performance and life satisfaction. It has been found that exposure to a stressor such as role conflict or role ambiguity has deleterious effects on employees' job performance. As nurses are exposed to stress from job overload and interpersonal conflict in various relationships with patients, guardians, and medical staff, they become psychologically removed from their work and disinterested and cynical towards their patients. This leads to exhaustion. With this, the purpose of this study aims to determine the burnout level of nurses in different hospitals in Iligan City and how it affects their work performance and life satisfaction. For the significance of the study, this study is significant to staff nurses for them to be aware on what are the different kinds of stressors present in their workplace and personal lives. This will help them on how to handle these stressors into manageable levels. This is also significant for nursing administrative officers for them to utilize the possible results as basis for developing and producing activities or programs specific for nurses on how to handle stress and improve their work performance and life satisfaction. For our definition of terms, first I define the burnout level, which refers to the job burnout and emotional exhaustion that nurses encounter in their workplace. Second would be the work performance, which refers to the evaluation of nurses according to their performance in their workplace. Lastly would be the life satisfaction, which refers to the healthy personal life and harmonious social life of nurses outside their workplace. For the problem 1, what is the respondent's demographic profile according to gender, civil status, rank, and job satisfaction level? For the gender, the table presents the frequency and percentage distribution of the nurses according to their gender. It shows that most of the respondents were female with a percentage of 43.3% compared to male respondents with a percentage of 56.7%. Second would be the respondents' demographic profile according to civil status. The table shows the frequency and percentage distribution of the nurses according to their civil status. The data above shows that 41.3% of the respondents were single, which indicates that out of the 10 respondents, approximately 4 were single and 6 were already married. For the respondents' demographic profile according to rank, the table above depicts that most of the respondents were staff nurses with 42.0%, followed by head nurses with 34.0%, and 24.0% were chief nurses. Role overload refers to an imbalance between the role demands placed on the individual and the resources at the person's disposal to meet those demands. Overloaded individuals must do more than they can do in the time available to them or require knowledge or skills that lie beyond their role overall. We can say that as nurses' rank increases, the scope of his or her tasks and responsibilities also increases, from handling individual patients to monitoring specific hospital units with additional administrative works. For the respondents' demographic profile according to job satisfaction level, as shown above, most of the respondents have an average job satisfaction level with a percentage of 38.7%, while the remaining respondents who have high and low job satisfaction level thus both have equal percentage of 30.7%. The amount of job-related stress probably affects the job satisfaction level among nurses in their workplace. Based on the study entitled Job Satisfaction Among Nurses, a predictor of burnout levels by Waikato University, Hamilton, New Zealand, hypothesizing that higher levels of job satisfaction predicts lower levels of burnout. Job satisfaction level for nurses varies depending on the amount of stress they are handling or how they are satisfied with their current work. For problem 3, is there a significant difference with the respondent's burnout level, job burnout, and emotional exhaustion when grouped according to gender, civil status, and rank? For the gender, our null hypothesis would be there is no significant difference in the respondent's burnout level when grouped according to gender. The t-value for job burnout is 1.129, while the t-value for emotional exhaustion is 0.731, wherein both of their p-values are greater than the 0.05. Thus, we need to reject the null hypothesis, which implies that job burnout and emotional exhaustion have no significant difference when grouped according to gender. Based on the study titled Job Stress and Burnout in Hospital Employees, Comparisons of Different Medical Professions in a Regional Hospital in Taiwan by Choli Ping et al. Shows that women had significantly higher burnout scores than men in personal and work-related burnout, but not in the client-related burnout. I think the level of stress that leads to job burnout and emotional exhaustion varies person depending on his or her personality, coping mechanisms, beliefs. Thus, one can generalize that all male are stressed compared to female counterparts or vice versa. For the civil status, the null hypothesis would be there is no significant difference in the respondent's burnout level when grouped according to civil status. The t-value for job burnout is 2.486 with a p-value less than 0.05. Thus, reject the null hypothesis and accept the alternative hypothesis, which implies that there is significant difference in the respondent's job burnout when grouped according to civil status. The t-value for emotional exhaustion is 2.352 with a p-value greater than 0.05. Thus, we don't reject the null hypothesis, which implies that there is no significant difference in the respondent's emotional exhaustion when grouped according to civil status. For the rank, the null hypothesis would be there is no significant difference in the respondent's burnout level when grouped according to rank. The f-value is 28.783 while the p-value is less than the set alpha at 0.01. This implies that the relationship is highly significant, thus reject the null hypothesis and accept the alternative hypothesis. There is a statistically significant difference between the respondent's job burnout level and rank level. Role overload refers to an imbalance between the role demands placed on the individual and the resources at the person's disposal to meet those demands. Overloaded individuals must do more than they can do in the time available to them or require knowledge or skills that lie beyond their role. Based on the above table, majority of the nurses experience high amount of job-related stress, specifically the staff nurses and head nurses, compared to chief nurses having moderate amount of job-related stress, maybe because staff and head nurses has a lot of roles to perform such as paperwork, patient interactions, and interventions to be done in a specific or limited time compared to chief nurses who does mostly administrative works and usually delegates tasks to his or her subordinates. For the emotional exhaustion, the f-value is 38.928 with the p-value is less than the set alpha at 0.01. This implies that the relationship is highly significant. Thus, reject the null hypothesis and accept the alternative hypothesis. There is a statistically significant difference between the respondent's emotional exhaustion and rank level. It has been found that exposure to a stressor such as role conflict or role ambiguity has deleterious effects on employees' job performance. To put it simply, as Jax 1998 concluded, high stress reduces job performance. Based on the above table, majority of the nurses are emotionally burned out due to moderate amount of job-related stress, specifically staff nurses and chief nurses, while head nurses are mostly emotionally worn out due to the high amount of job-related stress. The possible reason why mostly head nurses are emotionally worn out because they are assigned to a specific unit where they are tasked to perform administrative things within their unit while interacting with patients and catering their needs at the same time. For problem 5, is there a significant relationship between the respondent's burnout level, job burnout, and emotional exhaustion, and life satisfaction? For the job burnout, the scatter plot shows the coefficient of R is negative 0.966, which means that there is a strong negative linear association between the respondent's job burnout level and life satisfaction level. The p-value is less than the set alpha at 0.01. This implies that the relationship is highly significant. Therefore, the null hypothesis is rejected. There is a statistically significant relationship between the respondent's job burnout level and life satisfaction level. Nurses who continually experience exhaustion are not satisfied with their work and have negative attitude and self-view, so they become disinterested and businesslike towards their patients and colleagues, and eventually leave the nursing profession. If nurses have high satisfaction with their work and overall life, this will have a great influence on themselves and their work performance, including taking care of the health of their patients, so the life satisfaction of nurses is very important. The figure above shows that there is significant relationship between the respondent's job burnout level and life satisfaction level. Thus, as there is an increase of job burnout, their life satisfaction level decreases. For the emotional exhaustion, the scatter plot shows that the coefficient of R is negative 0.952, which means that there is a strong negative linear association between the respondent's emotional exhaustion level and life satisfaction is highly significant. Therefore, the null hypothesis is rejected. There is a statistically significant relationship between the respondent's emotional exhaustion level and life satisfaction level. Exhaustion indicates the physical and psychological fatigue experienced by nurses. As nurses are exposed to stress from job overload and interpersonal conflict in various relationships with patients, guardians, and medical staff, they become psychologically removed from their work and disinterested and cynical towards their patients. This leads to exhaustion. Due to such emotional exhaustion, nurses lost confidence and satisfaction regarding their work, and it is difficult for them to effectively perform their role. The figure above shows that there is a significant relationship between the respondent's emotional exhaustion level and life satisfaction level. Thus, when the respondents are emotionally stressed, their life satisfaction level decreases. This will be the end of my presentation. Thank you and